Jafora Fox, let's talk business. And let's turn it up a notch. It's your time to shine with Jafora Fox. It's all coming together. Just keep your eyes on God and tune in. And let's talk with Jafora Fox. Hey, Jafora Fox. Jafora Fox.
Hello, hello, hello. God bless you. God bless you. Happy Tuesday. Good evening and welcome to the Jafora Fox Show. I am Dr. Jafora Fox and I'm happy you're here tonight. We're live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And tonight's conversation is about what you do next is the proof. Choosing alignment over familiarity. If you know something or someone who's been needing clarity or direction, someone who's been carrying a lot, go ahead and share this with them now. Share, because sharing is caring. And thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, say hello and let me know that you are joining me. And thank you so much for being a part of the Jafora Fox Show. So share. So go ahead and share this with them now. So thank you so much. And so if you know someone that needs the clarity and direction, share it. And so before this year ends, I want to ask you something simple but honest. Not what you hope will change, not what you're praying about, not what you've written in a journal. I want to know this. If someone only looked at what you do next, what would it prove about what you believe? Because clarity doesn't change your life. Intentions don't change your life. Even awareness doesn't change your life. What you do next is proof. We want proof, and you can get that proof before you go into 2026. And tonight, we're talking about the quiet tension that shows up right here, the space between alignment and familiarity. Most people don't stay stuck because they don't know better. They stay because what's familiar still feels safer than what's aligned. So thank you so much for joining on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So God bless you. And I want to elaborate on the question I asked you earlier. If someone only looked at what you do next, what would it prove about what you believe? And so what are you believing about your next? Hello, Deacon. Thank you so much for joining. Share. Hubby, I appreciate you tuning in. And if you're joining in on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, whether you're watching live or now on the replay, hello, Stephanie. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like, share, and tag 3 people, letting them know that Jafora Fox Show is on, it is greatly appreciated. And so I want to elaborate on the question that I asked you earlier. If someone only looked at what you do next, what would it prove about what you believe? Simply put, if someone ignored your words, intentions, prayers, plans, and explanations, and only watched what you do next, they could tell what you truly believe, what you value, and what you're willing to make a priority. I don't think what you say matters. What you repeat does. Your actions are evidence. If you claim to value peace, but continue to choose chaos, your actions suggest that chaos feels safer. If you say you want change, but avoid making decisions, your actions suggest that staying the same feels less risky. If you say clarity matters, but don't act on it, your actions say that comfort still has the final word. So the question isn't meant to shame you. It's intended to reveal you what's going on, because beliefs don't live in thoughts. They live in choices. And what you do next is the most evident proof of what you believe about yourself, your capacity, and what kind of life you think is possible for you. It's about choices. And we want to make sure that we're making the right choices. We don't have to wait to 2026 to do that. We can start now. We can start tonight making the right choices. So, good evening, Dr. Cassandra. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining. If you would please like, share, and tag, and hello to Facebook. And if you're joining, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Jafora Fox Show. I am Dr. Jafora Fox, and tonight we're talking about clarity and direction. What happens when your life is trying to get your attention? And that's the proof of work. That means you got to put in the work. You got to make some decisions. You got to make sure that you have that clarity and direction that you need. And so in this series, and this is the last series, we've been naming something most people avoid. Your life is always showing evidence, not of your desires, but of your decisions. Proof of work is not about perfection. It's about pattern. You want to pay attention to patterns of people. And when you look at patterns, then you won't take it personal because you know that it's a pattern. It's not something that's about you. It's about the pattern of the person. It's not what you say you value. It's what you protect. It's what you repeat. It's what you tolerate. And last week we talked about why clarity still feels uncomfortable. And here's why, because clarity threatens the version of you that learned how to survive. And when survival has worked before, familiarity feels like safety, even when it costs you peace. And so we continue to do things because there is familiar, but it's alignment versus what's familiar to you. And so I'm going to define this clearly and let you know what familiarity sounds like. At least I know how this goes. This isn't ideal, but it's predictable. I can manage this. And alignment sounds like this matches who I'm becoming. This feels honest, even if it's uncomfortable. We have to be okay with being uncomfortable because I promise you, being uncomfortable, you're growing, you're learning, you're evolving, you are in alignment. These cost me something, but it gives me myself back. And so Stephanie says, just had a similar conversation with my cousin. It was basically learning to be confident in what I believe and not worrying or consumed by what others think, and working on making a move about things and not being stuck in what is comfortable. Yes, absolutely. You need clarity and direction on what it is that you're doing, whether it's a job, your relationship, with yourself, with decisions. It doesn't matter. You need to make sure that you have the clarity and direction that you need and that it is aligned with, if you're a believer, what God is saying about you and for you and what you should be doing in this next season. We're going into 2026 and it will just be another year if you take the same things that you're doing in 2025 with no clarity and no direction. If you take that into 2026, it'll just be the same. And so I want to do a proof of work check-in. And so I want you to do this. It's an internal audit with me. I've definitely done the audit myself. I feel like the Lord gives me things first, truly, before he gives me to share with others. And so ask yourself, what do I say I want in the next season of my life? What have I repeatedly chosen this month? And what do my choices actually prove? Because here's the part that matters. If your actions don't match your clarity, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means something familiar still feels safer than what you know is aligned. And that's not a character flaw. That's a signal when you know that you need to make the changes and it feels familiar to you. It's difficult to move from that space of what's familiar. But you can't grow if you stay in familiarity. You're not in alignment when you stay there. So I'm going to try to put those questions in the comments so that you can have those. Think about it. Ponder on that. Let's see. So that you can have that. So here's the first question. All right, so there's a question I just put in the comments. What do I say I want in the next season of my life? And so as we go on, I will try to put those other questions in the comments so that you can see that if you want to go back later and watch that. I think that's important for you to ask yourself that. What have I repeatedly chosen this month? And if it's not good, you don't want to choose it for next month, for 2026. And we have to come to a place where we are addressing the things so that with ourselves, so that we don't continue to keep repeating those things, same things. So what have I repeatedly chosen this month so that you don't choose those things next month, 2026. Can you believe it? Time goes by so fast. So I'm going to put the last question there for you to go back and take a look at that. And what do my choices actually prove? So say hello and welcome if you're just joining me from Facebook or the live now or on the replay from Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining the Jafora Fox Show. I am your host, Dr. Jafora Fox, and I'm so excited, so happy to be here in 2025, the last episode of 2025 and moving into 2026, graciously excited about the number 6 and what God is going to do for me and the Jafora Fox Show and all of the amazing things. And I'm excited about that. And so why we stay in the familiar? Why do you think we stay in the familiar? Most people don't resist alignment because they don't want to change. I do believe that we want to change. We want change. We want something different. But we resist it because familiar pain feels controllable. We want to control the things that we have going on in our lives. And familiar patterns don't require courage. And so when the patterns are the same, it doesn't require you to have any courage to do anything different. And familiar roles let you stay known even when you're not whole. And you want to be whole. Alignment to ask different questions. What are you willing to disappoint? What are you willing to outgrow? What can you no longer come with? That's why this season isn't about doing more. It's about choosing differently. I believe we already do enough. You can probably attest to that if you're watching. I'm sure you can attest to the fact that you are already doing enough. We just need to choose what it is that we're doing differently. Choosing differently. And so now what we're going to do next is your next, making it real. Here's how you close this year with integrity and not intensity, because we already stated that we have so much going on, right? Do you? I know I do, right? Just trying to navigate this, trying to finish strong in 2025 and looking forward to what God has in store for 2026. And so in step 1, because I have 4 steps for you tonight, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in step 1, Sure. The Stephanie said, can the questions be repeated? Absolutely, Stephanie. I can repeat those questions. What I'll do is put the questions in the comments, because basically for the alignment questions, I will put that in the comments so you can have that. So thank you for asking about that. And you can take that and go back, and anyone else to be able to look at that. If this is the questions that you're asking about, Stephanie, I just put them in the comments for you. And so here we are with step 1. Name the aligned version of you. And I want you to finish this sentence. And so you may have to go back. The version of me I'm choosing. And you want to just choose one word, one value, and one posture. The version of you that you're choosing. And I'm going to just provide you with a couple of suggestions that you can use, because this is not a goal, that you're choosing. This is not an outcome. This is an identity posture, such as clarity, rest, consistency, truth, discernment, directness, self-trust. Which one of those things are you choosing? Is it clarity? Is it rest? Is it consistency, truth, discernment, directness, or self-trust? And I can tell you, for me, I am choosing clarity. Clarity. And why this matters: when you name the version of you, you stop negotiating with old patterns. So when you can name what it is that you're doing, it gives yourself a reference point for decision making. And when you're clear, for me, it's clarity. When I'm clear about what it is that I'm doing and should be doing, I have the clarity and direction I need to move forward. And I probably could also choose rest, because rest too does not mean in a space always a physical rest, like you're going to sleep to rest. You can rest your mind. If your mind is always churning and going, and you're doing so many things, and you're trying to have this project, that project, trying to complete this, complete that. But for my choice, I'm choosing clarity in those words. And so, because every choice can now ask, does this match the version of me I said I'm becoming? Because you want to be truthful. You want to be honest with yourself. Right? You got to be honest with who you are. And so it is about a choice. And then choose one action that proves it, not 10, not a plan, not a reset. What I found that when I choose one thing that I'm actually going to work on, one repeatable action. So that's why I said not to try to choose a couple of these that you're trying to do, just one word. Then it's easier to be able to obtain and to do that one repeatable action that you've chosen than trying to do so many things at once. So you can choose something small enough to do without motivation, meaningful enough to create evidence. And so what I mean by that, let me provide you with some examples. So for me choosing clarity, if your word is clarity, 10 minutes of quiet planning each morning. 10 minutes of just quiet planning for yourself. So you're, for me, I'm not all over the place. I'm not trying to figure, okay, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Or I start working on something else and then I stop that and do something else, but just take that time, 10 minutes of quiet planning each morning. If your word was rest, a consistent, that's why I said this one too, choosing this one, a consistent bedtime boundary, right? Making sure that you're in the bed at a certain time, the rest in your mind, making sure that you are not allowing your mind to be cluttered with so many things. If your word is directness, one honest conversation you've been avoiding. If your word is self-trust, deciding without over explaining it. You don't have to be in a space where you over explain your decisions, over explain why you're choosing to do what's best for you. You don't have to over explain that. If you say no about something, no means no. You don't have to give an explanation. You don't have to go through, all of that and 10 steps of why you're saying no and justifying and over explaining. You don't have to over explain. And so with that particular one, that's that's the directness, just being direct. You don't have to over explain. I think that's a huge one. I believe all of them are really huge. And so when you capture or actually not capture, but if you accomplish the one word that you've chosen, then choose another one. Then you can choose another word so that you can make sure of that. So Stephanie said, yes, that's my issue. Which issue do you have, Stephanie? So put it in the chat if you don't mind, in the comments of one of the issues that you may be, dealing with, if you don't mind. There's no pressure. But thank you so much for sharing. Hello, Graham. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you. If you would like, share, and tag others. Why one action works. And the reason why I was talking about that one action, intensity tries to impress. Integrity builds trust with yourself. This is about yourself. This is about you being honest with yourself. Sometimes when we are trying to do so many things, it can create you to be in a space of just being intense and overwhelmed and exhausted and an emotional overload because you got so many things that you are trying to accomplish. And so we just start with one and then you build from that point. You accomplish that. You're making sure that you're being honest with yourself and doing that. And once you have done that consistently, because consistency is key in everything, because being consistent and finishing strong. And that's why I wanted to make sure for the Jafora Fox Show that I finish strong, that I do what, God has called me to do, even when I feel like it is a press, like not so much it was a press with having so many things, but just a press in my mind. By the time I get to December, which this time in December, I felt really, really good, even though there was some things that I felt, a bit uncomfortable with, just working on some things for myself, getting ready for planning for 2026. I still wanted to make sure that I, be obedient and do what God has called for me to do, being obedient to my assignment. So Stephanie says, I'm spending way too much time trying to explain why, to the point that it is hindering my own self-worth and what I know I believe in. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yep, over-explaining will do that. And it's definitely something that, I'm working on, and making sure, really all of these things, you all, God gives me different things, and to me first. So know that I'm not telling you anything that I have not done, that I have not worked on, that God has not made sure that I stay consistent in what it is that I'm doing, because consistency is the proof. Even when sometimes you don't have the energy. For me, sometimes I have the energy, but I have to still just keep going. Just keep going, and not in a way where I keep going from being overwhelmed or like on emotional overload. It's just that, there are certain tasks that I have to make sure that I complete, that I have to stay, that I have to make sure that I'm doing. And so consistency is the proof. And then step 3 is release one familiar pattern. We have some patterns. You may have some patterns that are familiar for you. Like alignment isn't just about adding something new. That's what I was talking about. Don't keep adding things to what it is that you're trying to do. We want to make sure that we're doing well at the things that we are already assigned to be able to do. So we don't want to keep adding things to our plate, adding things to our plate, adding things to our plate. It's about not returning to what no longer agrees with you. So you want to ask yourself, what do I keep choosing that doesn't fit who I am now? And as we talked about, this might be that over-explaining. delaying decisions, returning to the same conversations, ignoring your body's signals, saying yes when you already know it's a no. This step matters because you cannot step into alignment while dragging familiarity with you. You can't like keep going through doing those things when you know that you should be saying no, right? You know that I really don't have, my body is not feeling well, but you still keep pushing yourself. Your body will provide you with the signals that you need, that you do need to rest, that you do need to take care of yourself, that you do need to make sure you do what's best for you, because eventually it will catch up with you. Stephanie said, my other issue is letting things go and not overplaying it in my brain. I haven't learned to just let it go. And we have to just work on those things. And so when you're aware of what it is that you are doing, you can't unknow what it is that you already know. And so now it's about making a choice. As I talked about earlier in the show, it's about now you have to choose. You have to make a decision. You have to let it go. And you have to make that decision. And letting go doesn't require drama. It doesn't require all of those other extra things. It doesn't require explanations. It doesn't require all of that. It requires a decision. And so you have to make a decision to say, you know what, I have to let that go. And then act on the decision. Make sure you do just that. When you make the decision, make sure you do what the decision is that you've made. And so in step 4, let the proof speak. This is where people break their integrity. And this is with yourself, not with anyone else. This is with yourself. They announce, they explain, they look for validation. So when you announce what it is that you're doing, or you explain what it is that you're doing, or you're looking for validation from someone else, but alignment doesn't need an audience. You don't have to have an audience for the decisions that you're made or have making that are best for you. You don't need to post it. You don't need permission from anyone else. You don't need agreement. Your consistency will tell the story. And when you look back, you won't need motivation. You won't need justification. You'll have evidence. That's what it means to close the year with integrity. You want to make sure that you're closing this year with integrity, doing differently, doing the things differently than you did before. And so for you, Stephanie, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing in the comments. And so you just want to make a decision, and make the decision and continue to move forward, and be okay with the decision that you've made. And if you have to go deeper in with yourself and wondering why it is that it's difficult for you to let go of the situation. And so we don't want to go into 2026, a new year, with the same things. Because you don't need a new year to change your life. Because if you look at it like that, it means that every new year you're looking at new year, but it'll be the same you. You'll take who you are into the next year, and it won't change until you change it. Your life won't change. Situations won't change until you change it, until you as a person create the clarity and the direction you have, providing yourself with the plans, the strategies, the blueprint of what it is that you need to do and what you're trying to do, and stick to that and begin to do that. And that's how you see changes. That's how you see the consistency. And it's not going to be easy. It is difficult. And so, Stephanie, what you're talking about, or anyone else, it is not easy. But I can promise you it's worth making those necessary changes that you need to make. And so you need a new level of honesty about what you're choosing. Because what I will say and what you're choosing, if it's not helping you, then you want to choose something different. If it's not making you better, you want to choose something different. And so whatever you do next, that's the proof. That's why it's called proof. That's why this series is called Proof, because you want proof. Not for anyone else, you want proof for yourself. And so before we close, I want to offer something for those of you who know this conversation wasn't just information. It was a mirror if clarity has already shown you what needs to change. But you feel yourself hesitating, circling, and postponing decisions. That's not a lack of motivation. That's a sign you need a space to slow down and sort through what's coming up. And this is precisely what I do in a clarity and direction call. It's not therapy. It's not coaching performance. It's a focused conversation designed to help you identify what's creating emotional overload. Name what you need to stop carrying and leave with clear, grounded next steps of how you need to move forward in what it is that you're trying to do. Because when you don't create space to decide, nothing stays neutral. You keep revisiting the same thoughts, having the same internal conversations, and delaying changes you already know are necessary. And if you're ready to stop circling clarity and start moving with intention, you can schedule a clarity and direction call using the link in the comments, and I'll put the link in the comments. And remember, what you do next is the proof. That's the proof that you need. You know, the receipts, when people say, oh, I got the receipts, that's the proof you need for yourself to show that you are making those changes and nobody else can do it for you. You have to put in the work to make the changes yourself. And so I'm going to put in the comments the link for you so that you'll have that. And so thank you again for joining and being a part of the Jafora Fox Show. I tell you, we are moving into 2026. Yep, ready or not is coming. It is coming. 2026 is coming. So I'm going to put that link in the comments for you so that you can have that. Emotional overload is not healthy either. I agree, Stephanie. It is definitely not. It's not healthy. When your brain is emotionally overloaded, yeah, it is definitely not healthy. So I put that link there. So that's the link for you to go and you can schedule your clarity call. And let's read your comments. Stephanie said, emotional overload is not healthy either. I literally checked out for 3 days and just didn't want to even get out of bed. I had to regroup and be true to myself. Wow, Stephanie. I pray that you are doing better and that you recognize how emotional overload, it is not healthy at all. Your mind is just an overload. It is definitely not healthy. So I am glad that you got out of bed and you're doing better. So take the time to do a clarity and direction call. And as this year ends, I want to leave you with this question. What will your next choice prove about the life you say you want? Not January, not someday, but next. Because alignment doesn't begin with a new year. It begins with a new decision. And whatever you do next, that's the proof. Yes, I am glad you're much better. Praise God. So what will you do going into 2026? Even today, like making the decision today on what it is that you're wanting to do. What will your next choice prove about the life you say you want? Whatever that looks like. Because it's the choice that you have to make. You have to make the choice. And sometimes it's not easy to make that choice, but if you want something different, you got to do something different. And once you discover some things and know, then you have to do better so that you can be better Not January, not someday, but your next. And so I am excited about the next, even when things are, it's uncertainty, because we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. And then in Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and plans to give you hope and a future." So if you believe the word of the Lord, then you have to choose what the word of the Lord is saying to us. But then we have to put in the work, because the Bible says faith without works is dead, which means that we have a responsibility to make the necessary changes in our lives. We have to choose. We have to make a choice. We have to make a choice, no matter what it looks like, no matter what you feel like, because, life happens to us all. Choose to do better and to be better. Choose to have a great community and support system. All of those things are important. Choose to listen to your body when it's telling you things. Choose to take the rest. Choose to stop over-explaining. Choose all of those things that we talk about. Know that it is a choice. Because alignment doesn't begin with the new year. I want you to really get this. It does not begin with the new year. Just because 2026 is coming, that doesn't mean that things will be different. They can be if you do something different, or if you continue to do something to help make it be different. It's just not going to drop out of the sky. We have to do our part. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for you too, that you're going to choose something different. And so I will see you next year, 2026. Happy New Year. If the Lord says the same. And you have a good night. And happy New Year. A prosperous, a blessed 2026. Graham, I want to worry less, but that's going to be hard because I'm a chronic worrier. Well, Graham, I pray that in 2026 that you'll begin to worry less. Because if you look back and think about it, you were worried about things that God worked out. Because God will work them out, as he always has. He continues to show all of us that he works out things for our good, and he answers our prayers. And so I pray that too, Graham, that you will be able to worry less and know that God has everything under control. God is mindful of his children, and we have to begin to trust and believe God. And so, Graham, thank you so much for sharing that, because I know you're not alone. There are many people who do worry about things, but God, he doesn't want us to worry. He wants us to cast our cares to him, because he cares for us, and we have to make sure that we do that. And so you're not alone in the space of worrying, because we do in doing that. And so the first thing, because you have spoken, you recognize it, and you know it. I just believe that next year, 2026, you're not going to worry as much, right? May not go completely away, but we applaud the small steps of you not worrying. And so Stephanie said, me too. And that, Stephanie, that you won't worry either, that knowing that God is mindful of you, he's mindful of me, he's mindful of every listener, whether you're watching live now or on the replay on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. If you are a believer, God is mindful of his children. I'm a living witness, and I know you are a living witness too as well, that God is mindful, because when you spend that time worrying, it worked out, because everything works for our good. And so we thank and praise God. And so you all have a good night. I love you. God loves you, and God bless. So thank you again. And I'll see you in 2026. How exciting is that to say that? 2026, I'm looking forward to the great and mighty things that God has in store for you and in store for me. So happy New Year. And just finally, just subscribe to the Jafora Fox Show YouTube channel. It is greatly appreciated. So again, God bless you all, and thank you so much. And have an amazing night. God bless.
Jafora Fox, let's talk business. And let's turn it up a notch. It's your time to shine with Jafora Fox. It's all coming together. Just keep your eyes on God and tune in and let's talk with